Right. So, welcome to Global Sports Injury Conclave. So, we aim that there has to be, a paradigm which should be measured over injury. So, we had done one part of the injury conclave wherein we had talked about prevention of injury, identification of injury, and management of it. During the lockdown, we spoke to a lot of good experts from all across the globe on different fields, and we realized that how important was that if people are talking and guiding some youngsters on major forums, and these guys are getting guided in the right way. So we had people like John T. Rhodes, Andrew Leapers, John Gloucester, Ramji. All these guys came and spoke on a lot of things. So today we have got a forum which talks about cricketing gears, R&D usefulness towards injury-free support to the players. So now the panel we have got with us, fortunately, has got an experience of over 300 years, which is a great, thing in all. So we have got companies who established the work in 1925, 1931, 1935, and so on and so forth. So it's a great legacy we have got on the screen, and we're thrilled to have everyone here. So let me introduce everyone one by one. So let me welcome Vineet Sareen. Vineet Sareen is from Sunridge Sports. Welcome, Vineet bhai.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much. Thanks a lot.
Yeah.
It's my pleasure.
Yeah. We have got Paras Anand from Sandspreal, Greenland, most popularly known as SG. Welcome, Paras bhai.
Thank you. Thank you, Vishant. Thank you very much for having us here.
Welcome. We have got Push Kohli from Beat All Sports, now a very popular brand, Vampire from Jalandhar. Welcome, Push bhai.
Thank you, Nishanji.
Fantastic. We have got Aditya Mahajan from BD Mahajan and Sons, most popularly known as the BDM. Welcome, Aditya bhai.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Yeah, and we have got Ajit Menon from Matrix Ventures. Welcome, Ajit bhai.
Hi, Nishant bhai. Thanks. A big hi to everyone. It's a pleasure meeting everyone here.
Hello, Ji. Hello, Ji.
Yeah. And we have got Virendra Nagpal from Albion. So welcome, Virendra Paji. If you can hear a voice, Uday, you can check the connection as well.
Yes, I'm just trying it. This video came.
Yeah, correct. So the companies we are talking about, they are all one of the best companies in the country. And today we understand cricket, the way it has been flowing. India has got such a rich experience in terms of equipment that we really feel privileged. And the kind of support each company is showing to the players has been immense. Not from only the players who are playing for the country, but also players at the start level, which has been some fantastic stuff. So I will just be, putting few questions on the protective gear things, and expect a good answer so that it can go to a budding cricketer, and probably we can get one of the best results from them as well. So the first one I would like to put on to Aditya Mahajan. So the question is, should ergonomics play a pivotal role in making injury-free sports?
Yes, of course. Since it's a science that studies postures, and a correct posture is of utmost importance to save you against any possible injuries. But still, our R&D department keeps a close watch on that, and we are trying to make sure, to adjust our gears towards your postures. But yes, having said that, postures are very important.
Good. So we'll come to Push Kohli. So Push bhai, you have been making a lot of good equipment for players. So a lot of players need equipment in different forms. Someone needs some extra cushioning at gloves or leg guards. So when you do the R&D between the things in the company, what kind of particulars you keep a close watch on?
See, basic thing, like if you go for international players, they are more concerned about the size of the batting gloves, which fits them. That's the most important thing. Then comes the protection we are using. We're using the top quality Plastisor paddings. so that it saves them for the balls coming at the speed of 130, 150 km. So R&Ds are always there. We were working on the leather quality, we are working on the PU, we are working on the plastozotes. So what best we can do, we always do. We are in touch with the players, we discuss with them what extra thing they need. So right now we are start putting a bit of gel inside the gloves, so which gives them more protection underneath the plastozole, so that the ball doesn't hit and they doesn't feel the pains as well.
Very nice. So it was fantastic. So let me come back to Paras Bhai. Paras Bhai, if you can just guide us, because see, if we talk about Willow, if we talk about bats, we had bats in 1970s. We had Sunil Gavaskar who can score 774 runs in 1971, and then bat evolved in 1987 World Cup. That was different. Today we have got a lot of punch in the bat. So I think bat helps a batsman to a great level. So if a good punch bat and the talent is there, the batsman, I think scoring runs becomes a little easier. What is your take on that?
See, if you go back into history and compare the bats which were there in, say, 70s and 80s, which were used by people like Viv Richards and Mr. Gavaskar himself, who are legends of the sport. At that time, the game was totally different. That time there was not so much cricket happening. When a cricketer, even at that level, being the best cricketer, would probably prepare his bat. He'll take time. He would have enough time to prepare his bat, and then maybe eventually use it in test series. But now what has happened is, now it's 2020 generation. Now people want, okay, if I'm buying a bat, I'm going to play the match in the evening or this weekend. So nobody is preparing. So all of us as manufacturers have had to change the way we are producing bats, because now we know that people are expecting that it will be a ready to play bat. And that is where all our focus has been, for all people involved in manufacturing, that we have to ensure that it's ready to play. The punch is there in the bat, whether we get it from compression, whether we process it differently below. But eventually, the whole idea is that you give some more durability, and for this 2020 generation, the bat has to be ready to play. So that has been a change, which has been driven by more so the change in cricket than the equipment.
Fantastic. I totally agree. We talked about the generation where we used to use oil for the bat, and then we used to make the match bat. So one match bat for one player was a big thing. We would not give to anyone. Today, players even give bats to a lot of people. Thank you, Paras Bhai. So I'll come to Vineet Bhai. Vineet Bhai, very important thing for you. How do you design batting gloves, oblique the leg guards? What is most important protection element in both gloves and the pads separately?
Basically, batting gloves is a key thing that needs more protection, because it's more breaks are there. Ball is tend to hit more batting gloves than the batting pad, because cricket has changed. So very few people use the batting pad. Batting pad is not that difficult. The main is batting gloves, where you need the protection, where you hit more, how the players plays. It differs with the basically you need to make as per the player. If he's having one finger weak, so you have to protect that area more, and depends upon how he plays. For the international players, we have to make according to the player. That is it.
Yeah.
And it's more of a mental thing actually. Like we have to secure the mental level of the player first, that you have the protection where you need. That's it.
Fantastic. I totally agree with you. But what kind of change do you find from that cotton batting gloves and now? How is your R&D and your research been in help for the entire thing?
Cotton gloves are a long back basically, that I don't basically have not made in that era. But sheepskin palm fits and hugs the palm correctly. That's the best. You should have the feel that you are wearing your palm is fitting, having a proper fit. Then the protection at the right place. That gives you the confidence.
And what about the wicket keepers? Wicket keepers who wear the inner gloves and the gloves?
Wicket keeping gloves is a very difficult but very simple also. You need
Yes.
to have a padding at the right place. Like some places are not being used at all in the wicket keeping gloves. When you're keeping, fingers and the right side of the palm is getting used. On left side, you don't get the ball basically. So you need to
Right.
protect just before the thumb. You need to have more protection and a little protection when you are coming towards the thumb, because that portion is not being used. You need to see finger breaks should be there. You should see that padding is in the right place, and that padding is getting cut also, so that you can easily move your fingers and palm. Yes. Even
Super.
the thumb.
Very informative, Vinit bhai. Thank you.
Thank you.
I'll come to Ajit man and Ajit bhai. What is the important expectation from protective equipment from a professional player point of view? So comfort or protection?
I think it has to be a happy marriage of both. But like a very valid thing that Vineet Bhai pointed out is it's the player's confidence. You can make the best gloves in the world, but it's of no use if he doesn't feel confident. That's something which you have to psychologically work with him, and if he feels confident, then you can make gloves for him. Otherwise, I mean, you could really make fantastic gloves, but it may not be suitable for him because he feels that he might break his finger. So it is a bit of that, but at the same time, when it comes to protection, you need to ensure that there's no bone break or something. There will be the odd hit here and there, but generally the joints have to be taken care of, or the main bone when it comes to the batting leg guard, the central bone, and also lightweight is very important today. Players don't want to have protective equipment which is very because the game has become very athletic, and again T20 generation, so you need to blend both the lightweight nature of the product as well as top quality protection.
Fantastic. Superb. Is Virender bhai there? Virender bhai, can you hear us? I am not sure if he's able to hear. So I'll go to Ankit. Ankit has seen a lot of players and he has done a lot of servicing on players as well. Ankit, since you have been closely involved with the players, I would like to ask about the R&D and the protection in soft leather and helmet that they expect. As on the players' purview, what do you suggest?
See, the thing is like Pushpai mentioned, Vinit sir mentioned, mostly, players, they give a lot of feedback, to the brands actually, what they actually looking on a, gloves or pad or maybe, thigh guard, how it should comfortable, how it should be, So they give a lot of feedbacks to us, then, they try it out on the practice session. Like Ajit bhai mentioned, it has to be light in weight. It has to be like, it has to be very comfortable when they use it in the match actually. So they, they give a lot of feedback about, about the product, and then, it has to be like, when they use it in the practice sessions and then they give feedback, then a lot of R&D, goes into the scenes, and, brand do a lot of research and how they can be, made, and, it has to be comfortable for the players.
Okay. Good, Ankit. Okay, I'll come to Paras bhai again. Paras bhai, you have been, also exporting the equipment out of the country. And luckily, in India today, we very happily say that we acquire good number of share of the manufacturers unit as per the sporting gears are concerned. So, what do you think? Which part of the protective gear we are really big in the world? So what areas do players and what protective equipment does the world look after us?
See, if you talk about what I'm understanding is you're just asking about the manufacturing capability that we have in India. So again, what has happened here is cricket manufacturing started from UK, like we all know, in the 60s, 70s. It was most of these international brands, the older brands like Gun & Moore, Grennicles, Duncan Fernley, they were all based in UK and they were manufacturing in UK. And it was in 70s when when they started exploring that they would get their protective equipment. They did not shift the bat manufacturing, but they shifted the protective equipment, which included your gloves, your pads, thigh pads, all the other protection that was there. That started India started manufacturing in the 70s. late 60s, early 70s. And
Right.
now if you see the share that India has right across, whether it is your protective equipment, whether it is your cricket bats, our market share now, as far as manufacturing is concerned, would be as high as 85% now. Because India would be anywhere between 80-85, and then it's Pakistan, and then protective equipment is probably not made. Cricket protective equipment is not made anywhere else in the same quantum.
Fantastic, superb, sir. Because that's a great news for us any which ways. Because cricket, we are having a prowess, and we all understand it every coming day. Aditya bhai, so I would come to you now and would like to understand how do you take the R&D in your company as BDM? How do you understand the player needs, and what is your role been when you supply to the bigger players and understand what they require?
See, looking at the current scenario, the game of cricket has changed over the years. And today, when the game has reached to a great competition level, no player or let's say team wants to keep any stone unturned, and they basically want to give their best. And we try to make sure that by giving them good gears, we give them physical support, but we make sure that the mental stability should be there for a better performance. And it's known to everyone, whoever takes the game from the one who's overcautious. So comfort level, I would say, is very important in the gears these days. Then of course we look into protection and all.
And do you take a lot of players input when you start your R&D for a particular product?
Of course. It's very important, since they are the actual end users of the product, and without their opinion, I'm very sure a good product cannot be made. We've had inputs from Gordon Greenidge or Sachin Tendulkar or Virender Sehwag or Mr. Dravid as well. So a lot of people, they contribute towards the nurturing of a better product.
Superb. I will go to Saurabh Agarwal. So Saurabh, you are doing marketing for SG, and you meet a lot of players, a lot of big players also talk to you about a lot of things they want to improve from the equipment side, which enables them to have a better performance, because it's all about performance. So even if people have a lot of talent, and if they don't have the particular, exact gears, everything goes on a toss. So when you check with the top end players and customize for them, how is it helping them in comparison to the first class players we have?
Yeah, see, Nishant bhai, can you hear me?
Yes, please go on.
So, there is a comfort level that a player has to achieve. And, today the game is changing every hour and so. After this T20 has come in, I've seen players changing their gear frequently, and when they play in overseas condition or maybe Indian conditions, there is a difference of requirement that they have. So, you have to have a peace of mind when you're going on the field. You have the equipment that you want for yourself is very important. So their feedbacks, their requirements have to be met so that they're comfortable when they're going on the field. Protection is the key, and for that, we keep on, sharing different kind of patterns that they want, different kind of, protection that we want to add. So we have been, implementing those right across. And not only that, once we make a product with them which they are happy with, we pass on the same product to the market. We are the first class cricketers who are actually buying, who's not sponsored, who's buying from the market, can use that product to its benefit, and that can help and pass on to the other generation who's actually trying to build up from the first class games to the top class. So that's a very important key to understand the international players' requirement and then meet the requirement of the cricketers who are playing the cricket all across the country.
Great. Saurabh, I would also like to understand the difference between the requirement of a foreign player vis-a-vis an Indian player when you speak to them about the equipment. Especially, I want to have a comparison line from the Asian players and the players, maybe from Australia, West Indies, or England.
See, if we talk about the foreign players and the Indian players, foreign players, I would say that they are very choosy. They want to stick to what they have been using, for a certain number of years, and they don't want to change easily. They're very particular about it. Whereas if you talk about the Indian players, they are looking to improve and they're willing to change. Because they know more. That I feel, because this is like Paras has said, the 85% is manufactured in India. So they are more
Right.
comfortable, more open to changes and explore more opportunities. Whereas the English players, yes, uh, maybe they have not seen so many changes happening. They want to stick to what they have.
Yeah, super. Yeah, understood. Pushpaji, this
Yes, sir.
particular question to you, because you love bats and you love giving away bats. So, how can a batsman get to know about his correct bat weight? So this question is not for an international player. This question is for a budding player who wants to play for a state, trying hard, but because of lack of information, he might not know what kind of weight should be using. He is not aware of how to keep bats. Can you throw some light on this?
Well, that's the toughest question I think. So you asked about the cricket bat. I don't think so. A budding cricketer, when it comes for a bat to buy in a factory or a shop, I personally feel it's all the coaches what they guide him to go for the bat weight rather than
Yeah.
he himself knows what bat he wants. A budding cricketer, but
Yeah.
when he grows, it depends what sort of weight he likes. If he's an opening batsman, massively it will be a lighter weight because no one can be a Sachin who uses a heavier bat while opening the innings. So normally players prefer, I personally, 11, 70, 80 grams of bat, which is good for them. Opposite to Hashim Amla, which personally loves 1100 grams because he is a wristy player. So it's totally different game, and it's all upon coaches for the budding cricketers what weight of bat.
Very good, sir. Thank you, sir. Because every cricketer will need to understand. Everyone wants to have a very low, less weight bat and
See, it's
good
basically
punch and good
it's a
stroke.
feel.
Yeah.
Everybody wants like bat which is being used by Dhoni or KL Rahul or Virat Kohli. Everybody wants the same bat, but in the end, they know what bat they are using. Can they handle that shape? Can they handle that bat or not? But the budding cricketers, I think so. Coaches should guide them properly. They should. I
Correct.
personally feel they should go with heavier bat so that their arms get stronger, and then they come to the normal routine of a cricket bat. Maybe I'm wrong,
Right.
but my suggestion.
No, but it's your opinion, which is fantastic. No problem
Yeah.
at all, sir. So I would come to Vineet Bhai again. Vineet Bhai, how do you rate other protective gears like leg guard, like a lot of people also have one arm guard and all those things. So if compared to batting gloves, which are very important, how do you rate the other protective gears?
Batting pad is very important because it gives you confidence while running between the wicket. It needs to fit very nicely. The
Yeah.
knee is the main area. It should be properly curved, and then the top hat. If the top hat is fixing towards your thigh, that the feel is there, and the ankle, it should be compact. It should not be open actually. That's the key.
Yeah.
And weight. And under the knee, there is an area that should be well protected actually. But it is
Right.
that is the main thing. Yes, leg guard is a very important part. If it is not fitting well, the strap is too big. Strap size should be right, and if it is fitting nicely, then you are comfortable. Then you can run easily. Then it doesn't feel you. The weight should be proper.
Yeah. And
Can't
and,
ex-
and you have got a R&D section for doing the R&D for the leg guards as well.
Yes. I can basically we are doing it for like so many years now, 37,
Correct.
38 years, and I know the taste of the players and the developments. It needs to be compact, and it should be having a natural basically shape towards the thigh, which is not common in the batting pads. Not many companies
Right.
can make like that.
You also export the equipment out of the country.
Yes, we are exporting to all over the world. Yes.
So is there a different requirement of protections the people from West want compared to India?
Yes, they want more. Actually, I'm different over here. They need more varieties. Actually, they need more changes, cosmetic wise.
Right.
They are more. They are willing to try many paddings, gimmicks basically. In India, they need traditional pad. In England, they need traditional pad, but in Australia, they need the different foam fronts, like flat
Fantastic.
faces and cuts and all. They are more open for those things, lighter weight.
Oh, good one, sir. I'll come to Ankit. Ankit, I was just talking about the
Yeah.
helmet only.
Yeah.
Because you have done Masuri thing, so you know quite a few bit with what kids want. So it's about the gap between the visor and the peak of the helmet, even the cushion and gloves. So what is your advice or what is your take on this thing? How should it be and how should it be comfortable for the players?
So, like I would say that the peak of the helmet should sit above your eyebrow, and while batting, the helmet should not shake. Actually, it should not shake. So it should be firm actually when you're batting, and you should see the ball very well, and it should just sit above your eye line.
Okay. Okay. I'll come to Ajit Bhai. Ajit Bhai, why are modern batsmen wear helmet getting hit on the helmet a lot more than the non-helmet era? We have seen the era of Sunil Gavaskar, who only had the skull on him.
I think the reason is that they are used to, playing with helmets right from the beginning. Now, if you're not used to using a helmet, like a lot of us never used a helmet when we were playing in school or college, so we were naturally, our movements were such that we knew how to avoid the ball. Now, the modern day player, as a youngster, he gets hit regularly in the nets, so he knows he's not going to get killed. More often than not, there have been unfortunate incidents, but so there's a confidence level. So I think the art of leaving the ball or getting out of the line of the ball is gone. Again, it's got a lot to do with T20 cricket and 50 over cricket, because you don't want to leave deliveries. So it's a mindset thing. Earlier on, the players, they used to mainly play the test match format and 60 over 50 over format, so you had time, you could leave deliveries. But now it's a conditioning thing. I think players are used to it, and they know that okay, we'll get hit on the odd occasion. So, and also I think wearing too much of equipment slows down your reflexes also. Like somebody like Bradman or Viv Richards or Gavaskar used to use a skull cap, but that was hardly any weight. So naturally, you had this tendency that your reflexes were sharper, and I think you knew how to move away from the out line of a bumper or a So I think that makes a lot of difference.
Okay. Thanks, Ajit Bhai. Very informative. I'll come to Paras Bhai. Paras Bhai, this is a question for you because you have made the pink ball, so it has to come to you. Part one of the question is, what do you foresee the cricket equipment business is going to go? Point one. We saw mongoose ball, pink ball, and now no saliva on cricket ball. So what's your take on this?
See, with regards to cricket, I think pink ball is there to stay, because Test cricket is the format that everybody who's a purist, who's seen cricket in the past also, would want to retain the charm in Test cricket. And pink ball has done that. It's done that in Australia. They had a very successful match in England as well, and the Calcutta Test match also went down very well. We saw
Very well, correct.
so many spectators were there right across all 3 days. So pink ball is there to stay, and cricketing authorities all over the world will make sure that Test match, the charm in Test match stays, and they will try to get the crowd there. With regards to your saliva, and that is something which has just happened because of COVID. So people will adapt. If that is the need of the hour, that you cannot use saliva because of health reasons, because of safety reasons. We've also worked on on a wax which can be given to the umpires so that they can give it to the players. We've done very little R&D because we were obviously under lockdown for quite some time. But whatever R&D we've done with the wax to get the shine on one part of the ball has really worked. So, to cut the long story short, yes, it's all about, we talk about Test cricket, whether it is the pink ball, whether it is your saliva not being used, and whether it is cricketers, it's the administration or the brand manufacturers who are producing the product will given their 110%, to ensure that whatever challenge is there, we will find a solution to that, to ensure that, Test cricket goes on.
But is the wax legal? Is it allowed?
They haven't taken a decision on it because it's just too early. You don't know when the next Test series is going to happen. But
Correct.
there are talks, where there could be a possibility just to maintain the balance between the bat and the ball. If the ball doesn't reverse swing, it's going to tilt in the favor of the batsman, which we don't want. We want the bowler to be also in the game for all 5 days. So that is
Correct.
very important. That reverse swing should be retained, and if they want that charm to stay, they will have to take that call. They'll have to make it legal.
I think if wax is allowed, then there will be a full regulations which will go what kind of wax, who is the manufacturer, and what materials do we need to use, so that it should not contradict between the fairness of the game.
Correct.
That's
Correct.
we all required actually. Yeah. So Aditya Bhai, will come to you, as you have been in in this medium as a brand. We have seen over the years going differently, and then it's brand which people talk about. So will you see anything that will revolutionize the sports of cricket?
Please, can you come again? I didn't get your question.
So I was saying, do you think is there going to be anything which is going to revolutionize the sports of cricket, according to the business of sports equipment?
See, cricket is already into revolution. Every day we are seeing a change. Every now and then the game is changing. And even the manufacturers, they are all adapting. We've just heard from Juni, we've just heard from others as well, that how things are changing, how they are doing the R&D. And yes, of course, revolution is a part of the game now. If you don't do it, then you are stuck behind maybe.
Yeah. So I'll come to end of it. I'll go to Vineet Bhai first. Vineet Bhai, if you want to suggest a budding cricketer about the kind of protective gears he should choose, what is you're going to be taken maybe 2 lines?
Proper size they should go for. Proper size as per their height and as per their build.
Super, fantastic. 1 line and it's sorted. So I'll go to Pushpaji. Pushpaji,
Yes.
as per you, what should be the right kind of advice to the budding cricketers in terms of cricket equipment?
See, it's, as Vineet ji said perfectly, it's depend upon his height, what sort of size of bat he uses, his hands, his legs. It all depends what sort of height is, and then only he can pick up his gear easily. A budding cricketer.
And so every budding cricketer I speak to or I meet, because we also give a lot of cricket kits as our corporate social responsibility. Everyone wants a very very lightweight bat. So what's
Yeah,
your take
obviously,
on
because they are the young lads. They will definitely go for a lightweight bats.
that? Right, fantastic. Ajit Bhai, what's your advice to the budding cricketers, the youngsters, as per today's cricket?
As far as choosing equipment goes,
Yes.
I think the right shape, the fit, the size, that's very important. Like what Vineet Bhai said about the shape of the leg guards, that's a fantastic point that he pointed out, because a lot of manufacturers are not able to give that shape. So if you start buying good quality equipment right from the beginning as a budding player, you can grow along with it. And again, based on your physical structure, you can choose the size and but again, it has to be lightweight and it has to provide adequate protection, because in the lower grades of cricket, perhaps the balls that are being used are also harder, so you need a little bit more protection, I think, over there. So it's important to choose your equipment carefully and always go in for a better quality product. So you know if there is a problem, there are warranties and stuff that go with it. If you just pick up anything from the street, that's not going to give you protection, and you're not going to be hurt in case if there is a problem with it. So I think picking the right quality and the right size of equipment is very important.
Thank you, sir. Aditya bhai, as per you, if a small kid come from a small city, a small town, what is going to be your suggestion to him if he has got talent? What kind of equipment should he be using to have a good career?
See, as everyone has mentioned, about the sizing and all. First thing, budding cricketer should look at the fit. If the equipment fit is not good, it will not serve the purpose. And then comes the bat weight. Generally, like everyone is telling that the coaches are telling what weight to get. But everybody has a different body structure. So maybe as per your body structure, you can choose your bats. But yes, once you are at a stage where the cricket is very serious and very big, then of course you have to hear your peers on how to choose your bat or how to change your weight of the bat depending on the situation, what is going on.
Fantastic, sir.
Nishan bhai,
yeah.
sorry to interrupt. Since we are saying, I want to important point, and I'm sure everyone will agree to. What I'm saying is, for the body cricketer, it's important to buy out genuine stuff. They need to buy out the genuine stuff from the market, from the genuine manufacturer, and that's very important. What we have seen over a number of years that whatever duplicates that are available in the market are very well compromised on the security, on the protection of the player. So you have to buy genuine product from a genuine manufacturer to ensure that you are protected when you are playing with these gears. Your gloves, your pads are something that is protecting you. You're protecting your whole year, maybe your career. Based on it, so you need to buy genuine stuff. So that is very important for a kid to understand what he's getting out of a genuine product.
Bang on. It's very important, actually. I'll come to Paras bhai. Paras bhai, your last, some one-line suggestion to youngsters who can guide a player to buy equipment. So sometimes they all fall into a prey of buying wrong equipment. So what is going to be your thought on this to the players?
See, two things have happened, recently, that the information available now online with regards to equipment is lot more than what it was, say, a few years ago. And brands, a lot of the brands, if you go to their websites, they talk about what level you are playing, and they talk about the product which is relevant for that level. So they're talking about the right fit. They're telling you the right size for the right height. They are telling you the right protection, because that is also very important. Say, for example, if you're playing a club level cricket, you don't need the highest end of protection, so that's probably not required for you. So all that information, whether it is the websites, whether it is general information on YouTube. So my advice would be that before, if anybody is confused, they should spend some time online looking at these websites where brands are talking about the protection level, the brands are talking about the right size, the brands are talking about even the bat weights, bat dimensions. So that is something that is there. All you have to do is get online, go to the right sites, maybe watch some YouTube channels where people are talking about gear, and that information has grown massively in the last 3-4 years. So I can just advise them of, go to our site as well, where we talk about the protection level. We talk about for what standard that gear is relevant for. So that's pretty much it.
Super. Very nice, sir. Very nice, sir. Ankit, I'll just come to you. As per helmet, when you were doing Masuri, so what do you think your suggestions to the small kids, because they all need helmets but may not be to a very expensive helmet. So what should be your suggestion?
So, like Saurabh mentioned, just go for a genuine manufactured product. So I would go that pick a right product. Like I earlier mentioned that it has to be firm when it has to be of good quality and a genuine product you should buy. So that's what I would suggest, that go for a genuine product, genuine manufactured product.
Thank you. It was a great session. Let me thank everyone. Thanks, Pushpaji. Thanks for your time. Thank you, Paras bhai.
Thank you, Nishant ji. Thank you
for
very much.
contributing.
Thank you very
Vineet
much.
bhai has
Thank you.
Vineet bhai has always contributed very well. So thankful to you, sir.
Thank you, Nishant bhai. Thanks a lot. Thank you very much.
Aditya bhai, your insight was very helpful. Thanks a
Thank
lot
you.
for this.
Thank you, Nishant.
Thanks, Ajit bhai.
Thank you, gentlemen. It was a pleasure
Superb mention.
talking to
Yeah.
everybody and hearing everyone's views. Lovely
Yeah,
to
so-
catch up like this
Yeah.
with everyone.
Yeah, thanks,
Thank you.
Saurabh bhai. It was fantastic.
Thank you.
to have
Thank you.
Here. And
Thanks,
Ankit, you were good. So
Thank you, dear.
eventually we just came down to end. We had the giants of the field. So we had in terms of sporting gears, we had the best people on the stage, and I'm sure these excerpts from the webinar will be very useful for the youngsters. So thanks again. So we'll
Thank
join
you.
soon
Bye bye,
on Q&A.
everybody.
Thank
Bye.
you.
Thank
Good
you,
evening.
everyone.
Bye.
Bye bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you.
Good evening.
Bye. Bye.